Here's how to start running paid ads for your startup. I've spent over 7 figures on paid ads, and here's exactly what I would do with a new account. Disclaimer, don't spend any money that you're not willing to lose. And this advice is specifically for Meta ads, but also the principles apply to TikTok. So the first thing is you need to make sure your account is set up, where you set up a Meta Pixel. All of this is documented very well online. Set up a Meta Pixel, get a clear analytics dashboard so you know what you're actually looking at. Once you have all of that, you also want to make sure that you have an email drip campaign set up where you can actually remarket people. You're getting their emails, so if they don't convert on the very first touch, you can convert them later in the funnel. Get all that set up, you're in a good place. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create one campaign, and that campaign is going to have a purchase objective selected. The reason you do this because if you use an engagement or a link click, what you're telling the algorithm is to serve this to people who are more likely to engage, to like your post, or to click the link, but not necessarily purchase. When you specify purchase, you're telling the algorithm that you want people to actually buy the product. You don't want to actually train it on a bunch of people who like your stuff but never actually purchase. This is a huge hack. When I change this, it instantly increases conversions. So make sure you do that. The second thing is under that purchase campaign, you're going to do one ad set underneath it. Just to start off, just one single ad set. For targeting, you don't need to do specific interest-based targeting like you used to. You could just keep it broad and age-based. So it's say 18 plus USA or 18 plus like UK, Australia, whatever it might be, whoever you're targeting generally, where your users are. You can, if you have about 1,000 customers, 1,000 customer emails, you can create a lookalike audience. And that could be a way to kind of like speed run your early learnings. Is you take those 1,000 emails, feed it into Meta, build a lookalike audience that you can target like 1% lookalike, 10% lookalike, whatever you want. However, that's not as necessary as it was, like 3 years ago, 5 years ago. The AI has gotten a lot better at targeting. So under this purchase campaign with the open broad targeting, you're gonna do 3 to 5 ad creatives to start. I want each single ad creative to be much different. So you have one that's, like maybe a static image, one that's a video, one that's UGC style, one that's maybe more highly produced or uses other things like testimonials. If you want to speed run some of your ad creative and hooks, go into Meta Ads Library, and you're going to look at what your competitors are doing or people who are in adjacent industries. See what their hook is. Are they just doing static images? Are they just doing video? You can do an alternate version of whatever they're doing for one of your creatives, see if it works for you. The whole purpose of this time is you're just finding what hook truly works, and then from there, you're gonna scale that hook and create a ton of variations off of that. So that now, creative is the biggest targeting method. Before it was getting really good interest-based targeting, now it's your creative. So that's where most of your time is actually gonna be spent. On the ones that aren't being served, you're gonna cut them out. And then you're gonna take the ones that are working and you're gonna create variations off of those. So either trying a slightly different hook, or if it's just a static image, take that hook and turn it into a video. Just keep doing variations of that. The thing is, however much money you're spending will really determine how quickly you can test. If you're spending, $1,000 a day, you're going through way faster than if you're spending $1 a day, because you need enough learnings for it to actually be significant. Meta actually was recommending at least 50 purchases for each ad campaign to actually have those learnings. So the metrics that you're gonna be looking for here are, and first, the only metric that truly matters at the end of the day is your cost per conversion, your CAC or your CPA, cost per acquisition. Your CAC, that is the main thing that matters. Everything else is slightly a vanity metric. Let me explain. So the first thing we're looking at is click-through rate. That is when your ad is shown, what percent of people click it. So if it's shown to 100 people, 1% clicks it, that's a 1% click-through rate. The performance metric that you want is around, 1%, 2%, 3% click-through rate. If you're at like a 0.2% click-through rate, that ad's not gonna do well. No one's clicking it, it's not doing well, it's probably not gonna get served. If you have, I've done ads with 5% plus click-through rates, but the people weren't converting as much because it was very like clickbaity, but then they got to the landing page and they're just like less interested. Like the hook didn't actually set up a purchase well. That's why I'm saying the thing that actually matters is CAC, but you do want at least that sort of bare minimum performance. The second thing that matters is your opt-in rate. So opt-in to lead. A typical funnel is you get people from an ad onto your landing page. That landing page then gets their email, and then you have them go for a purchase. And if they don't purchase, you remarket them via email. The opt-in rate you want around, 30% to 40%. You might start at like a 10, 15%. You have to optimize your landing page to get it up there. And then also as the targeting gets better and your creative gets better, you have better selection of people on your landing page, and the conversion rate will also just naturally increase. But anyway, you're looking for around 30% plus for it to be well performing. And then you actually have your purchase rate, which it might be start a trial or actually buy the thing, buy the pair of shoes, whatever the thing is. Around purchase rate, if you're doing 1% or 2%, that's really good, right? Like for some people, when you're just starting out, it might be like 0.25%, or it might be, like under 1%. You're always trying to increase that, and that's lower funnel optimizations, but you need enough volume for that to actually be significant so you can test it. Like when you have a ton of volume, you can test like A/B test onboarding. Like what's a better onboarding that converts into more sales? But if you're doing that too early in the journey, you don't have enough volume for it to be statistically significant. So anyway, the things that matter, and then from there, the last thing that matters is your CAC, your CPA. That is the number one metric, like I was saying. So if I put $1 in, how many dollars do I get out? So 2x ROAS is if I put $1 in and I get $2 back. That's really good ad spend. But typically, let's say you have a $50 product, you're going to be expecting CAC to be anywhere between $25 to $75, $100, etc. If your product is a one-time purchase, that's dangerous because you spent $75 and they only gave you $50, so you lost $25. However, if you have a subscription-based model, so let's say they give you $50 every single month, that's actually a really good acquisition cost. If you're giving, let's say you paid $100 CAC, they give you $50 back. Yeah, you lose $50 on that first month, but then month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, where they're still giving you $50, ends up being super profitable, and it was a really good placement. So you have to understand what your business model is and what works. If you are running ads, I highly recommend that you do have a subscription-based model, or you have a one-time purchase that is enough to cover the CAC. That is the key. If you have a $10 product and you're running ads and it's a single purchase, it's not going to work. You need enough profit margin for it to really play. Get to the point where all these things are dialed to where you decrease the cost per click, you increase the conversion rate, and you can drive that CAC down, because as you scale, your CPMs are going to go up. So it's going to be costing you more and more money to get customers. So you want to make sure you have enough healthy margin in the beginning. So what your goal is to constantly improve this funnel, right? Constantly be making updates to creative, to all this stuff. For you starting, it doesn't matter if you're starting with $100 a day or $1 a day. I recommend everyone just to be running a single dollar a day in ad spend, because at least you're learning something. You're starting to learn about your hooks, your funnel. Are you getting emails? You're having something roll in. Even if it's not your main strategy, you're starting to have some learnings that'll happen that'll help you with everything else. So I hope this works well for you. It's just super simple, like how to generally think about things. You don't have to start super big. Don't spend money that you can't afford to lose. Just start to get some learnings, start to get comfortable into Ads Manager, how the process works, start to get those learnings, and then just expand the strategy as it's going well. If you're spending $10 a day profitably, then you can start spending $20 a day, $50 a day, $100 a day. Before you know it, you'll be spending $1,000 a day, $10,000 a day, and that's when you're really printing, and that's the magic of paid ads. Don't be afraid of paid ads. You can figure it out. It's a huge industry. Many people have made fortunes from just knowing how to do Facebook ads. And then, of course, you can apply that strategy from Meta to TikTok to X ads, LinkedIn, whatever in the future, Google ads. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, it's a huge subject. It's a long video, but I still have so much more I want to say about it. I'll do a part 2. Make sure you give me a follow. Ask me any questions you have in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, my friends.